Hi everybody, and I hope you're doing well. It's to the end of the month, isn't it? It's almost the end of the month, which is great. Now, I wanted to say something to you guys, and I felt it would be important to actually uh, say it on here and say it live. And I was speaking to a candidate yesterday, and we got chatting about like what he's been doing his whole life and why he wished he had done certain things earlier, and it got me reflecting. And we had a long chat. I think we talked for about an hour or so, and it was quite an insightful conversation. And what was it all about? It was all about time, you know. Um, and as you notice, the title of this video is "Time is the only commodity that you don't get a refund on." And I want you to kind of think about this. And I'll say it again. Time is the only commodity that you don't get a refund on. You can buy anything, and if you don't like it, you can take it back and get your refund. You can't do that with time. And this is kind of, and I said this to my candidates this morning. I wrote a long epistle, and they're all encouraged by it. And I felt it's important to share it with you. And I would encourage you to probably just share this right now, so someone else who needs to be listening to this is listening to this. I'm gonna actually tell you. I'm gonna start by telling you a story. So, well, not even a story, but kind of enlighten you about more of an enlightenment to me as well. So, if I knew what I knew now when I was 20 years old, so when I was 30 years old, I think I'll be a multi-millionaire today. If I knew what I know now when I was 20 years old, I think I'll be a billionaire. And that kind of brings into picture what I'm trying to say. I can't get back 10 years ago. I can't get back 20 years ago. I can't get back 30 years ago. I can't get back 40 years ago. What I do have is right now. And what I do right now will determine where I'll be in 10 years' time. Now, I've been saying this to all my candidates. You have, the moment you hit 50, expect that all the energy and enthusiasm all the energy and enthusiasm and passion reduces by 10 years. The moment you hit 40, it reduces, it obviously, sorry, the moment you hit 50, it reduces by 10 years, which means that what you had at 40 years old, you don't have it when you're 50. Now let's talk about people in their 30s. The energy, enthusiasm, passion you have at 30 is literally cut in half by the time you hit 40. So you would find that if you're competing with people in their 30s who have discovered what they want to do at the age 50, your chances of succeeding are much lower. Why? Because they have more energy, they probably are more passionate, and as a result of it, they're able to do things at a much quicker pace and with a lot more excitement than you would. So, there's certain things we should have done. There's a time for everything under the sun. There's a time to play and there's a time to work. There's certain things we should have done by the time you reached a certain age. And so that we're preparing for the next stage. And I just feel it's important to kind of express this to you all. So if you're 20 years old, you have 40 years to make a mark. The first 10 years, you're really using it to do, so it's a period of discovery. So if you are 20 years old listening to this, or you're in your 20s listening to this, or you know someone who's 20 years old who should be listening to this, you probably want to share it. This is a moment of discovery. You want to finish your outdoor work, prepare your field, then build your house. There's a time for everything under the sun. So at age 20 is the moment of discovery. It's the moment of discovering what you're naturally talented at, what you're naturally gifted at, and then honing those skills, developing them so that in your 30s you start to earn, you've gotten experience. You see, knowledge is one thing, but knowledge is useless without understanding. Between the age 20 to 30, you really want to be building your knowledge, your understanding, and also your experience. Companies pay for experience. Experience equates to wisdom. Why do we pay for experience? We pay for experience because It's one thing to have somebody who has the knowledge but has not been through it, understood it, and actually made mistakes, learn from that mistakes, and can save us from making that same mistake. This is why companies ask for 5 years experience. This is why most senior management positions will be expecting you to probably not most likely be in your 30s to secure that, because you have years of experience behind you. So the question is, wherever you're working right now, are you being paid to develop yourself? And are you being paid to become the best you can be in order for you to earn based on that experience? If you're not, you are wasting your time, you're wasting your life, and you will not get a refund back on that time. So let's kind of look at it. Let's just kind of pause on the 20-year-old guy who needs to discover, develop, and then deploy himself by the age of 30. Let's now move to 30. At age 30, you're experienced. You're now walking towards becoming a consultant, or walking towards becoming a consultant, a seasoned contractor, or more importantly, starting your own business based on the years of experience that you've gained. At this stage, you should start putting money aside. And what do I mean by that? You should start looking at building your house, or buying your house, or getting yourself a mortgage, and not just 1, 2, 3, 4 mortgages here and there. Why? Because at 40, realization will hit. You now start to realize that you really shouldn't be on the same level as people who are in their 20s and 30s. You want to be managing the people who are in their 20s and 30s. At 40, you should tell yourself that I have only 10 years left. And within these 10 years, I need to do everything possible to make sure my money starts working for me. Your money should start working for you at age 40. In fact, at age 35, your money should start working for you. Part of your money should start working for you. It's okay to work for money from age 20 to 30. At age 30, you should start thinking about how your money will work for you. By age 35, part of your money should start working for you. By 40, a percentage of your money should actually be working for you. Or you should be doing things that bring the kind of money in that enables you to invest in other places. Because from 40 to 50, everything that you do should be about one thing and one thing alone. By 50, I just want to sit down, put my feet up, and watch my money work for me. And I have the income available to live the kind of life I want. Why? Because in 10 years' time, you'll be 60. You don't want to be forced out of retirement and be wondering how you survive. You don't want to be in a position where you're made redundant and all of a sudden you're back to square one. And you want to put some things aside to make sure that you have a future, a bright future ahead of you, especially if you want to leave something for your kids. So the reality is, that is how it should work. That's basically how life should be. That's what we should all do. That's how life should be. But the reality is, that is not how it is. There are many people in their 30s still trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do with their life. There are people in their 40s who have now realized they've wasted their time, and they're thinking to themselves, what the heck am I going to do with my life now? How do I actually start making the kind of money whereby I can live the kind of life I want, at least leave something for my kids? And there are people in their 50s who are sitting there thinking, what on earth have I been doing? Why have I wasted so much time? So does it mean there's no hope for these people? Hell no. No, that's not true. There are many people who their life kicked off at 40. But we need to not assume that they weren't doing something before then. And really and truly, at age 40, all your years of experience, expertise, knowledge, and qualifications come together to help you to break through in something. So a lot of people that break through in their 40s is because they've been building something up. So don't get to the assumption that, I've not been doing anything my whole life. Now I'm 40 years old. I decided to break through. I'm going to. That's not necessarily going to happen. So, where are we right now then? What am I trying to say? Because somebody's going to be listening to this and thinking to myself, well, there isn't much hope here if this is what you're saying. And I'd like to say that is not the case at all. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say that you are in your mid-30s. There is no time to say you're going back to university. You should have done that when you were in your 20s. You don't want to go and start gaining knowledge whereby you come out and understanding of that knowledge is not exactly clear and you have no experience, then you're now back at square one. That's a waste of your time. If you're in your mid-30s, what you want to be doing is sitting down and saying to yourself, where exactly is the world going right now? For example, we're living in the digital age. What exactly are the challenges companies are facing right now? What are the skill sets that are required? How do I get professional qualifications in this skill set? And where do I get work experience in this skill set? So that in a year or in 6 months, I can start applying for these roles and get that job. You don't want to waste your time going to university at that age and then come out 2 3 years later, 3 years wasted, and realize that you're back at square one. Knowledge doesn't equate to a job. If you have qualification, no experience, you are overqualified for the job, but you have no experience. So you want to focus on gaining experience. And at that age of in your mid-30s, really and truly you have 5 years. So what's wrong with investing 6 months to a year in building qualifications in an area that is in demand, building experience in an area that's in demand, and then applying yourself for the next 5 years, earn some proper contract rates, £400-500. You might even start at £300 a day, but as you build your experience, you obviously move up to £500-600 a day. Then you're now making enough money within that 5 years to buy a house, buy 2 houses or buy 3 houses. Get yourself a nice mortgage. And then that way, by the time you're 40, you're now thinking to yourself, how can I now, I really should now be moving. So that's 5 years experience. Now, you now are telling yourself, I got 5 years experience. I know all this stuff. I have mastered. You must master the art of the industry you're in. So finish your outdoor work, prepare your field, then build your house. To prepare your field, you have to work in another man's field. Everybody should always look towards preparing their own field. So what do I mean by this? Everyone should always look towards creating their own business within the area they specialize in. And to do that, you need to work in that field. So in the my early 20s, I knew that the digital space was where I wanted to be. In fact, it wasn't called digital then. It was called the internet world, the web. I wanted to be a web technology consultant. If I wanted to be an e-commerce consultant at university, and then by the time we evolved, I wanted to be a web 2.0 consultant and stuff like that. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I focused my career in that area. I got a job with Visa as a project manager. I got a job with Movie.com as a project manager. Movie.com was a tech startup. Visa was an established company. I didn't think twice about it. I wanted to be part of a tech startup. Why? Because I knew that if I can learn everything required to start up a tech company and get paid doing it, so get paid to be the best you can be, then when it's time for me to prepare my own field, I have the expertise. If you don't know how to plant corn and you go and buy a corn field, most likely it won't go well, would it? So at least learn how to plant corn on someone else's field before you go ahead and start building your own field. Start planting corn in your own field. So by the time you're 40, you're sitting there and thinking, I've got these years of experience, I understand the market, and this is what I want to focus on. I want my money to start working for me. Okay? So you've invested in a few places here and there, and then you're now thinking, how do I now create something that brings in money? And then my effort, I do minimal for more, and then I can now put that money to other places whereby that money starts to work for me. And that's where you start to think about a lot more into real estate, a lot more into stocks and shares, a lot more into setting up a business that would basically sustain you for the rest of your life. At that age 40, you can't afford to make mistakes. At that age 40, you can't afford to make mistakes, but you have to take risk. And you have to take calculated risk. I always laugh when people tell me that, oh, you can't be a successful businessman if you're not a risk taker. No, don't be a stupid risk taker. Don't be somebody who takes a risk whereby if it all goes pear-shaped, you have lost everything. The kind of risk you want to take is the kind of risk whereby it's calculated. Come what may, worst case scenario, I can survive the consequences. And those are the kind of risks that I take. I take risks. I take really big risks. But the kind of risks I take are calculated. Worst case scenario, can I survive it? If I can't survive it, I'm not taking that risk. I'm not stupid. So, and at age 40, you can't afford to take make stupid decisions or take stupid risks. You have to take you have to take risks that are calculated, okay, and make sound decisions. Why? Because by the time you hit 50, you expect your money to start working for you. So let's talk about those who are in their 40s who, at this point in time, you're saying to yourself, oh gosh, based on what this guy said, I've missed 5 years of my life. Well, at age 40, let's think about it. You haven't got time to go back to school. You don't. What you do have time for is to get qualified. in an area. So you have to look out there right now. So I would look at the market. So if I was, for example, 40 and I hadn't achieved anything in my life, and I'm thinking to myself, not that I haven't achieved anything in my life, but I haven't gotten myself into a financial position where I'm pleased with where I am. I will look at the market. And let's just look at it for real right now. So I'll look at the market and I'll understand the trends. I understand what's going on. I understand the factors that are driving the economy on the global, nationally and also on a global scale. And I would see that, hold up a second, what's this GDPR thing all about? And I'll look at the opportunities involved in it. I'll look at the career prospects involved in it. For example, in the UK alone, companies have spent 1.1 billion on GDPR. US companies have spent 7.6 billion. That's a lot of money, and that money is going to lawyers, is going to IT companies, is going to consultants and all these people that are involved in it. So how can I get involved in this? What are the skill sets I need to get involved in this? Where can I gain experience? You have to serve before you can earn. So where can I get experience? And I would focus the next 6 months to do that, secure a role in that area, build my expertise in that area to become an expert in that area, and then spend the next 10 years killing it. Spend the next 10 years literally hustling, contracting from one place to the other. I'm not doing permanent. Permanent for what? At what age? How much pension am I going to get? I'm going contracting. I'm going to focus on making sure that I earn 400, 500, 600 pounds a day, keep building my skills, keep getting more and more qualified, and make sure that I make enough money. If I can make 500 pounds a day for the next 10 years, that's 120,000 pounds a year in 10 years. That is 1.2 million pounds. That money will change your life. Okay? And that's what I would do. Or I would say to myself, and that's just one area that I just mentioned to you. Or I realize that, okay, hold on a second. They're saying that data is the new oil. They're saying that we're living in a digital age. They're saying that companies are heavily reliant on data to make an informed decision, and we're moving towards artificial intelligence. They're saying that by 2034, 47% of jobs will be automated. So hold on a second. In the near future, I may not even be able to get a job. I beg, what exactly do I need to focus on? And I'll go and build my data analytics skills. I'll go and build my business intelligence skills. I'll go and build every possible skill required for me to be relevant. And I'll do the same thing, contract and make as much as I can, so that by the time I'm 50, I'm looking to chill out. Okay? So that's the solution if you are 40 and you're saying to yourself, I haven't achieved much. What am I going to do? Now let's hit the 50s. Now at 50, I'm going to have to be honest with you. At 50, it is scary. It is very scary. And why is it very scary? It's very scary because you are already telling yourself that you are old. And I want to tell you one thing. If you are walking around, if you feel healthy and everything is okay, you're only as old as you think. It's all a state of the mind. Okay, so you need to get your mindset out of that idea of you are old. If you've been taking care of yourself, exercising, you're still active. But the truth of the matter is that at 50 years of age, you really should be leading and directing rather than being directed. That's just the honest truth. Okay, sounds harsh, sounds horrible, but that's just the honest truth. So the first thing is reality. Face reality. I really should be in a position of leadership by this age. I should be in a position of directing by this age. I should be a consultant by this age. I should be a business owner by this age. That's just the reality of it. So if you are not, then the question is, what do I need to do to get myself in that position? And I think this is extreme. And I always say this. At this point, you have to take risk because worst case, at best, you have 30 more years to live, or and if you're one of those people that God has blessed you with long life, maybe 40 more years to live. But the truth of the matter is that when you talk about energy, strength, and stuff like that, you probably have just 5, maximum 10 years, because at 60, things start to slow down. So, what are you going to do? Now, if I am going to enter the mindset of everybody else, I would say to you, hopeless. There's no point. But that's bull. That's absolute bull. Okay? That is not true. If you're in your 50s and life has not gone the way you planned for it to go, there's only one thing you can do, and that is you have to take big, bold steps. You have to take big, bold risks, because you haven't got. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? Nothing's happening now anyway. So since nothing is happening now anyway, you might as well take that risk. And what kind of risk do you take? You will go and look for, and I'm being honest here, you would go and do 2 things. The first thing you would do is the business side. The second thing you would do is the contractual stroke consultancy side. Now, the truth of the matter is that you've missed out on the years of experience. That's just the truth of the matter. So it will be a bit harder. It is a bit harder. However, there is nothing as better as now. There's no other better time than now. Now. So, what would you do? I would, there's something that says take small but secure steps. But in this occasion, you have to take medium secure steps. You can't afford to take small secure steps. You have to take medium secure steps or big secure steps. So, what do? Well, it's pretty plain and simple. Let's say that you're 50. At 60, you really want to stop. You've got 10 years. I will spend the first year once again, identify the trends in the market, identify where the opportunities are, identify where the money is, because companies will pay for solutions to their problems. So identify where the problem is, identify the solution, and become an expert in that area. It's just that simple. But it will take a lot of research. It will take a lot of you going around. I will attend conferences. I will attend events. I would be up to date with what's going on in the world. I will be up to date with the main problems of the world and the particular areas whereby you can actually get paid to actually solve them. I would focus on things that require experience and professional qualifications that I can do in a month, 2 months, and experience that I can get in 3-4 months. And then I would focus on applying for jobs in those areas. I would not apply for the low pay roles. I would build myself up to be an expert in that area, apply for the high paying roles, and just go gangster on it. You do what you have to do to get what you want. It's just that simple. I'm not saying go and do some criminal things or be a criminal, but you do what is required. Luckily, by God's grace, and this has happened, it's happened to a lot of my candidates. So we've had candidates on the platform in their 50s that have come here and they realize that, they don't have time. I remember one lady told me, said, look, I have maximum 10 years, so let me just give the next 6 months to this platform, give it 110%, go gangster on it, and if it works, it doesn't work. Because what's the worst that can happen? Remember what I said, nothing is happening right now. So if it works, it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. At least I tried. And she went on it. She focused on GDPR. This is last year. And then she got her first role, £500 a day as a GDPR consultant. She was over the moon. She was really excited. And I told her, I said, this is fantastic. Now, what you need to do is go beyond. Focus now on being a DPO, a data protection officer. Why? Because that is the obviously natural graduation to the next level. So focus on being a DPO, build yourself up as a consultant and actually start making some really good money between now and the next 10 years. Truth of the matter is that if you're going with £500 a day, £10,000 a month, £120,000 a year, if you live within your means, that's enough money to put down for deposit. Do that consistently for the next few years, rent all those properties out, and then in 10 years time, you're sitting down, you're chilling, and you're okay. She went gangster on it. And that's why I always tell people, at age 50, there is no time to contemplate. Even at age 40, there's no time to contemplate. So when you're sitting there thinking, should I do this or should I not do this? You're wasting your time you cannot get back. Look, I cannot get back the last few minutes I've just spoken to you. I can't get it back, So you have to do what you have to do now in order to be able to do what you want to do tomorrow. And I cannot stress this enough. Understand the trends. Understand the factors driving the market. Know where the money is. Gone are the days where you do things because, I was born to do this. It's good to be born to do something. But if there's no money in that thing that you are born to do, and at the end of the day, money makes the world go round. Even churches need money in order to do what they need to do. So money may be the root of all evil, but we all need it. So, come what may. I'm not saying don't go after your passion, but I'm saying bring bread home. And bring enough bread to last you until you die. And also for enough of your family. Stop wasting your time. Don't waste time in a company that is paying you to fail. And what do I mean by that? There are many companies that are not up to date with trends. They're not up to date and they will go bankrupt very soon. They're not taking advantage of the resources, the technology, the ideas, that are available to us in order for them to compete later in the future. The likes of Blockbusters gone bankrupt, Toys R Us bankrupt, Motorola bankrupt, Marks and Spencer just closed down 100 stores. And I was telling somebody the other day that look, if you keep building your business for aging people. When they die, your business will die. You've got to build your business for the millennials. You've got to build your business for the people of today, and the people that are coming after. You've got to be prepared. You must always be learning. You must always be improving. And you must always be up to date with what's going on in the world. And you should never be afraid to change career like that. Never. Somebody called me up and said, oh, I'm an accountant. I've been an accountant for the past 40 years, but I'm beginning to realize that a lot of things have been automated. It looks as if there won't be any accountant roles very, very soon. And I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. The prediction actually is that by 2050 something, accountants will no longer be needed because everything will be automated. I was like, yeah, but I love accounting. I'm not saying you shouldn't love accounting, but there are a lot more jobs you can evolve to. You can add certain digital skills on top. You can build your data analytics skills, build your business intelligence skills, and move towards being a portfolio financial analyst. Move towards being a financial business analyst. Evolve. You can't stay in one place because the world is changing. And what's shocking is this. I was teaching about understanding trends, doing industry research, and not just looking at what happened yesterday, not just looking at what's happening now based on what the data is saying, but looking at what's happened yesterday and the factors that affect it in order for you to make a decision about tomorrow. So you kind of make predictions about tomorrow. And I was explaining to people, and I said, and we just looked at smartphone market share. Do you actually know that exactly 7 years ago, BlackBerry had a massive market share? Do you know that roughly around 9 years ago, and this is shocking, Google Android literally didn't exist. Google Android owns 80% of the market share right now in the smartphone industry, but they didn't exist almost 9 years ago, or if they did, they had very, very small market share. Look at it today. Where is Nokia, Symbian? Where is Windows phones? Did you hear where I'm coming from? So what is relevant today won't be relevant tomorrow. And they didn't do what they had to do then. And as a result of it, they lost the time where they can never get back, and it's over. It's gone. It's gone. It's over. So, in a nutshell, time is the only commodity you don't get a refund on. What you do today, and I kid you not, what you do today will determine exactly what you can do tomorrow and what you can't do tomorrow. So the most important thing is now, more than anything. And I hope this message has inspired you. I hope this message has kind of woken you up, shaken something within you, and made you think, you know what? I shall not carry last. I shall not be left behind. And take care. God bless.